The things you refuse to release right now are quietly stealing the future you deserve. And this message is going to show you exactly what needs to go. If you are a Taurus watching this, something inside you already knows that a shift has been building. You have felt it in the restless nights, the lingering thoughts, the strange sense that you are standing at the edge of something you cannot name. Maybe you have been holding on to a situation that stopped working months ago. Maybe you have been gripping a version of yourself that no longer fits. And the weight of that holding is not just emotional, it is physical. You can feel it in your shoulders, in the tightness of your chest, in the exhaustion that no amount of sleep seems to cure. But here is the part that most people never realize. The things you are afraid to let go of are not protecting you. They are imprisoning you. And the moment you open your hands and allow them to fall, that is the moment your real life begins. So stay with me through every word. Do not tune out when it gets uncomfortable, because the parts that make you uncomfortable are the parts that were written for you. Take a deep breath, settle in, and let this message do what it came here to do. Tip 1. The comfort zone you are protecting is the cage you built for yourself. Let me start with something that might sting a little, but I need you to hear it because nobody else in your life is going to say it this clearly. The comfort zone you have been protecting with everything you have. It is not a sanctuary. It is a cage. And you built it yourself, one decision at a time, one avoidance at a time, one small retreat at a time, until the walls were so high and so thick that you forgot there was a world on the other side. As a Taurus, you are drawn to stability. You crave routine, predictability, the feeling of solid ground beneath your feet. And there is nothing wrong with that. Those qualities have served you well throughout your life. They have given you the strength to endure things that would have broken other people. They have given you the patience to build things slowly and carefully while others rushed ahead and stumbled. But right now, in this moment, those same qualities are working against you. Because the stability you are clinging to is not real stability. It is stagnation disguised as safety. It is fear dressed up as wisdom. It is the refusal to change wearing the mask of contentment. And somewhere deep inside, you already know this. You have known it for weeks, maybe months, maybe even longer. You have felt the quiet dissatisfaction creeping in around the edges of your carefully constructed life. You have noticed the way things that used to bring you joy now feel flat and empty. You have caught yourself going through the motions, doing the same things day after day, not because they fulfill you but because they are familiar. And familiar has become your prison. Think about a plant that has been growing in the same small pot for years. First, the pot was the perfect size. It gave the plant everything it needed to establish roots and grow strong. But over time, the plant outgrew the pot. Its roots began to press against the walls, circling around and around with nowhere to go. The plant is still alive, still green, still technically surviving, but it has stopped growing. It has stopped thriving. And unless someone transplants it into bigger soil, into a bigger space, it will slowly wither and die, not from any external threat, but from the limitations of the very container that once supported it. That is where you are right now. You have outgrown your pot. You have outgrown the relationships, the habits, the beliefs, the routines that once served you beautifully. And the discomfort you have been feeling is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that you are ready for bigger soil. But here is the part that makes it hard. Transplanting is messy. It is disorienting. The plant has to be pulled from the only home it has ever known, its roots exposed and vulnerable, before it can be placed into something better. And during that transition, it does not look like growth. It looks like destruction. It looks like everything is falling apart. But it is not. It is the necessary disruption that precedes the next phase of expansion. So I need you to stop romanticizing your comfort zone. I need you to stop telling yourself that staying where you are is the mature, responsible, wise thing to do. Sometimes the most mature thing you can do is admit that you have outgrown your circumstances. Sometimes the most responsible thing you can do is leave the familiar behind. Sometimes the wisest choice is the one that scares you the most. Your comfort zone served you once. Honor that. Thank it for what it gave you. And then step out of it. Because the version of you that is trying to emerge cannot breathe inside those walls anymore. It needs space. It needs air. It needs room to stretch and grow and become everything it was designed to be. And you are the only one who can give it that room. Tip 2. The stubbornness you call loyalty is keeping you chained to things that no longer deserve your devotion. There is a trait that lives deep inside every Taurus, woven into the very fabric of who you are. And it is one of your greatest gifts and also one of your most dangerous tendencies. It is your stubbornness, your unwavering, unshakable, almost immovable commitment to the things and people you have chosen. When you decide something matters, you hold on with a grip that could bend steel. You do not waver. You do not quit. You do not walk away just because things get difficult. And in many situations, that loyalty is beautiful. It is admirable. It is the reason people trust you with their deepest secrets and their heaviest burdens. But right now, that same stubbornness is hurting you, because you have been directing it toward things that no longer deserve it. You have been pouring your loyalty into relationships that stopped being reciprocal a long time ago. You have been dedicating your energy to situations that take and take and take without ever giving anything back. You have been staying committed to paths that lead nowhere, not because they are right for you, but because walking away feels like failure. And for a Taurus, failure is almost worse than pain. You would rather suffer in silence than admit that something you chose is not working. You would rather keep pushing a boulder up a hill than acknowledge that the hill leads to a dead end. You would rather exhaust yourself maintaining something broken than face the vulnerability of starting something new. But I need you to understand the difference between loyalty and self-destruction. Loyalty is staying committed to people and things that grow with you, that honor your investment, that return your energy with equal or greater care. Self-destruction is staying committed to people and things that drain you, diminish you, and take advantage of the very devotion that makes you who you are. And the line between those two things has been blurring in your life for quite some time. Take a moment and think about where your energy has been going lately. Think about the relationships, the obligations, the commitments that fill your days. Now ask yourself a simple but powerful question. If I were meeting this situation for the first time today, with no history, no emotional attachment, no sense of obligation, would I choose it? Would I willingly walk into it? Would I look at what it offers and what it demands and say, yes, this is worthy of my time and my heart? If the answer is no, then your loyalty is misplaced. And misplaced loyalty is not a virtue. It is a trap. It is a way of avoiding the pain of release by convincing yourself that holding on is noble. But there is nothing noble about sacrificing your well-being for something that has already run its course. There is nothing honorable about giving the best of yourself to something that only returns the worst. You can honor the past without being imprisoned by it. You can acknowledge that something was once important without pretending it still is. You can release with love, with gratitude, with a full heart, and still walk forward into something better. Your stubbornness is a superpower when it is directed toward the right things. When you channel that unbreakable will toward your own growth, your own healing, your own future. Nothing in this world can stop you. But when you channel it toward maintaining what is broken, it becomes the chain that holds you in place while your life passes you by. Choose wisely where you direct that energy from this point forward. The things that deserve your loyalty will never make you question your worth. Remember that. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Tip 3. The abundance you are seeking cannot enter a life that is already full of things you have outgrown. There is a law of the universe that most people overlook, and it is one of the most important things you will ever learn. Space must exist before it can be filled. You cannot pour water into a cup that is already full. You cannot plant new seeds in soil that is choked with old roots. You cannot receive the abundance that is waiting for you if every corner of your life is already occupied by things that have outlived their purpose. And as a Taurus, this is especially relevant right now because your natural tendency is to accumulate. You collect. You gather. You hold on to things not because you are greedy, but because you find comfort in having enough, in being surrounded by the tangible evidence of your hard work and your careful choices. But there comes a point when accumulation becomes hoarding, when the things you have gathered stop serving you and start suffocating you, when the life you built with such care becomes so cluttered that there is no room left for anything new to enter. Look around your life right now, not just your physical space, though that matters too, but your emotional space, your mental space, your energetic space. How much of it is occupied by things that no longer serve you? How many old grudges are taking up room in your heart? How many outdated beliefs are cluttering your mind? How many expired commitments are consuming your calendar? How many relationships that have already ended in spirit are still lingering in practice? Every single one of those things is a placeholder. It is occupying the exact space that was meant for something better. The new relationship cannot come in because the old one is still taking up the emotional real estate. The new opportunity cannot manifest because your time and energy are consumed by obligations you should have released months ago. The new version of you cannot emerge because every inch of your inner world is still furnished with the old version's belongings. This is not about throwing everything away in some dramatic purge. This is not about burning your life to the ground and starting over from ashes. This is about thoughtful, intentional clearing. It is about looking at each piece of your life with honest eyes and asking, does this still belong here? Does this still serve the person I am becoming? Does this still deserve the space it occupies in my heart, my mind, my time, my energy? And for the things where the answer is no, it is about having the courage to create space by letting them go. That space will not stay empty for long. The universe does not tolerate a vacuum. When you clear space with intention, something always rushes in to fill it. But what rushes in is calibrated to who you are now, not who you were then. It matches your current frequency, your current desires, your current level of readiness. And that is the abundance you have been seeking. Not more of the same. Not a recycled version of what you already have. But something entirely new, something that fits the person you have become rather than the person you used to be. Start clearing. Start today. One drawer at a time. One conversation at a time. One decision at a time. Make space for your future by releasing your grip on your past. The abundance is coming, but it needs somewhere to land. Tip 4. Your body has been speaking to you, and it is time to stop ignoring the message. Your body is not just a vessel that carries you through the world. It is a messenger. It is one of the most honest, most reliable sources of information you have access to, and it has been trying to tell you something for weeks now, maybe longer. The tension in your neck that will not go away no matter how many times you stretch. The knot in your stomach that tightens every time you walk into a certain situation. The heaviness in your chest that settles over you like a weight when you think about certain parts of your life. The exhaustion that clings to you even after a full night of sleep. None of that is random. None of it is just stress or aging or bad posture. Your body is storing the emotions you refuse to feel. It is holding the tension of the decisions you refuse to make. It is carrying the weight of the words you refuse to say. And it is getting louder because you have been ignoring it for too long. As a Taurus, you have a particularly strong connection to your physical self. You are an earth sign grounded in the material world, deeply attuned to sensation, to touch, to the way things feel in your body. And that connection is a gift. It means that your body speaks to you more clearly and more loudly than it speaks to most people. But it also means that when you ignore those signals, the consequences are more severe. Because you are not just ignoring random discomfort. You are ignoring a direct communication from the deepest, wisest part of yourself. Think about what happens when someone keeps sending you urgent messages and you keep ignoring them. At first, the messages are gentle. A soft knock on the door. A quiet whisper. A subtle nudge. But when those gentle messages go unanswered, they get louder. The knock becomes a pounding. The whisper becomes a shout. The nudge becomes a shove. That is exactly what your body is doing right now. It started with small signals. A little tension here. A little fatigue there. Nothing you could not push through or ignore. But because you did not listen, the signals have intensified. The small aches have become chronic pain. The occasional tiredness has become persistent exhaustion. The subtle unease has become full-blown anxiety that keeps you up at night and follows you through the day. Your body is not betraying you. It is trying to save you. It is trying to force you to pay attention to the things your mind has been avoiding. Because your mind is a master of rationalization. Your mind can explain away almost anything, can construct logical arguments for staying in situations that are destroying you, can convince you that everything is fine when everything is clearly not. But your body cannot lie. It does not know how. It simply responds to the truth of your experience, and when that truth includes stress, suppression, denial, and emotional avoidance, your body responds with symptoms. So what is your body telling you right now? Where is the tension? Where is the pain? Where is the heaviness? Do not brush it off. Do not explain it away. Sit with it. Listen to it. Ask it what it needs. The answer might surprise you. It might tell you that you need to leave a situation you have been enduring. It might tell you that you need to speak a truth you have been swallowing. It might tell you that you need to cry tears you have been holding back for months or years. Whatever it tells you, honor it, because your body has never lied to you, and it is not lying now. Tip 5. The material security you worship has become a golden cage. I know this one is going to hit close to home, and I want you to stay with me through it because it might be the most important thing you hear today. As a Taurus, material security is not just a preference for you. It is a core need. You need to know that the bills are paid. You need to know that there is food in the pantry. You need to know that the foundation of your life is solid and stable. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Financial responsibility and practical wisdom are among your greatest strengths. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. The desire for security became an obsession with it. The healthy need to be stable became an unhealthy fear of instability. And that fear started making your decisions for you. You stopped taking risks not because they were reckless, but because any risk, no matter how calculated, no matter how necessary, felt like a threat to the safety you had built. You stayed in the job that was crushing your spirit because it paid well. You maintained the relationship that had gone cold because starting over felt financially terrifying. You said no to the opportunity that made your heart race because it required you to step into the unknown, and the unknown is where security does not exist. And slowly, without you even noticing, the security you built became a prison. A beautifully furnished, perfectly comfortable, impeccably organized prison. But a prison nonetheless. Because what good is a life that is stable if it is not alive? What good is security if the thing it is protecting is a version of you that has already died inside? What good is a full bank account if your heart is bankrupt? I am not telling you to throw caution to the wind. I am not telling you to quit everything and live recklessly. That is not who you are, and that is not what this moment requires. What I am telling you is that there are certain risks you need to take right now that you have been avoiding, because your fear of losing security is louder than your desire for fulfillment. And those risks, the ones that scare you most, are the doorways to the life you actually want to live. Security is a foundation, not a ceiling. It is supposed to give you the stability to reach higher, not the excuse to stay low. And right now, you have been treating your foundation like it is the entire house. You have been living in the basement of your own life, afraid to climb the stairs because you might fall. But you were not built to stay in the basement. You were built to live in every room, on every floor, with the windows open and the sunlight pouring in. Think about what happens when you keep money locked in a safe and never use it. It does not grow. It does not multiply. It does not create anything. It just sits there, technically safe, technically secure, but doing nothing. That is what your life has become. Technically stable, but functionally stagnant. The money in the safe only has value when it is put to use. The stability you have built only has value when it gives you the freedom to take meaningful risks. And right now, your stability is not giving you freedom. It is giving you excuses. Excuses to stay comfortable. Excuses to avoid the hard conversations. Excuses to postpone the changes you know you need to make. The financial stability you have created is a gift. Use it as a launching pad, not as a hiding place. Let it give you the courage to take the leap you have been avoiding, knowing that even if things get uncomfortable for a while, you have built something strong enough to catch you. That is the purpose of security, not to keep you still, but to give you the freedom to move. Tip 6. The resentment you carry is poison you keep drinking while expecting someone else to get sick. There is something sitting in your chest right now, something heavy and dark and bitter, and you have been carrying it for far too long. It is resentment. It is the accumulated anger and hurt from every time someone took advantage of your generosity, every time someone mistook your patience for weakness, every time someone crossed a boundary you were too loyal to enforce. And you have been swallowing that resentment day after day, pushing it down into the deepest parts of yourself, telling yourself that you are over it, that it does not bother you anymore, that you have moved past it. But you have not moved past it. It has moved into you. It has taken up residence in your body, in your energy, in the way you approach new relationships and new opportunities. It has made you suspicious of kindness because the last person who was kind to you used it as a tool of manipulation. It has made you reluctant to open up because the last time you were vulnerable, someone used your openness against you. It has made you guarded, cautious, and quietly angry in ways that even you do not fully recognize. And here is the hardest truth about resentment. It does nothing to the person you resent. Nothing. They are out there living their life, completely unaffected by the bitterness you carry. The grudge you are holding is not punishing them. It is punishing you. Every moment you spend replaying the offense, every time you rehearse the conversation you wish you had, every night you lie awake fuming about what was done to you. That is your energy, your time, your peace, being consumed by someone who probably is not thinking about you at all. Letting go of resentment is not about excusing what was done to you. It is not about pretending it did not happen. It is not about saying what they did was acceptable. It is about refusing to let it control your present and your future. It is about taking back the power you gave away when you decided to carry their offense in your body. Forgiveness, real forgiveness, is not a gift you give to the other person. It is a gift you give to yourself. It is the decision to stop drinking poison and expecting someone else to get sick. It is the decision to say what happened to me was wrong, and I refuse to let it define me for one more day. You are a Taurus. You are strong. You are resilient. You are built to endure. But you were not built to endure self-inflicted suffering, and that is what unforgiveness is. It is self-inflicted suffering masquerading as justice. Put it down. Release the grudge. Open your hands and let the bitterness fall away. Not for them, for you. Because the energy you free up when you release resentment is the exact energy you need to build the life that is waiting for you on the other side of this season. And that life is too beautiful, too rich, too full of possibility to be weighed down by the baggage of yesterday. There is a lightness waiting for you on the other side of forgiveness. A freedom you have not felt in years. The moment you decide to stop carrying the weight of what was done to you, you will feel it immediately. Not as a grand revelation, but as a quiet exhale. A softening. A release that starts in your chest and moves through your entire body like warmth returning to a place that has been cold for far too long. That lightness is your birthright. It has always belonged to you. The only thing standing between you and that freedom is the decision to stop holding on to pain that was never meant to be permanent. Tip 7. The change you are resisting is the answer to the prayer you have been praying. I want you to think about something for a moment. Think about the things you have been praying for. Think about the wishes you have been making, the hopes you have been holding in the quiet of your heart, the dreams you have been nurturing in the spaces between the noise of your daily life. Maybe you have been asking for peace. Maybe you have been asking for a fresh start. Maybe you have been asking for deeper connection, for more meaning, for a life that feels aligned with who you truly are rather than who the world expects you to be. Now think about the changes that have been happening in your life, the disruptions, the endings, the unexpected shifts that have thrown your carefully planned routine into chaos. And ask yourself this: what if those changes are the answer? What if the very things you have been resisting, the very upheavals you have been fighting against, are the direct response to the prayers you have been sending out into the universe? Because that is how it works. When you ask for peace, the universe does not simply hand you peace on a silver platter. It removes the things that are disturbing your peace. When you ask for a fresh start, the universe does not magically reset your life overnight. It begins the process of clearing away the old so that the fresh can begin. When you ask for deeper connection, the universe does not deliver the perfect relationship to your doorstep. It first removes the shallow connections that are taking up the space where deeper ones are meant to grow. Every answered prayer looks like disruption before it looks like a blessing. Every wish granted requires something to be dismantled before something new can be built. Every dream fulfilled demands the death of the circumstances that were incompatible with its arrival. You have been praying for change. Change is here. And now you are fighting it because it does not look the way you expected it to look. You imagined that change would feel exciting and effortless and inspiring. Instead, it feels painful and confusing and deeply uncomfortable. And that dissonance between what you expected and what you are experiencing is making you doubt whether anything good is actually happening. But I need you to trust this. The discomfort is the delivery system. The upheaval is the unwrapping. The chaos is the clearing. What looks like things falling apart is actually things falling into place, just not in the order you planned or the timeline you preferred. Stop resisting the answers to your own prayers. Stop fighting the very changes that are bringing you exactly what you asked for. Your job right now is not to control the process. Your job is to trust it, to surrender to it, to let it do its work even when the work feels like destruction. Because on the other side of this destruction is construction. On the other side of this ending is the beginning you have been waiting for. And on the other side of this prayer is its answer, wrapped in a package you did not expect but one that contains everything you need. I know that surrender is one of the hardest words in a Taurus vocabulary. I know that letting go of control feels like stepping off a cliff without knowing if there is anything below. But there is something below. There has always been something below. Every time you thought you were falling, you were actually landing. Every time you thought the ground had disappeared, you discovered that the universe had built a bridge you could not see until you were already standing on it. Trust that this time is no different. Trust that the ground will meet your feet. Trust that the answer to your prayer is already forming, even if you cannot see its shape yet. Tip 8. The patience that defines you must now be directed inward. Everyone knows that Taurus is patient. It is one of the first things anyone says about your sign. You can wait. You can endure. You can hold steady while the world around you spins into chaos. You have used that patience to build things that others would have abandoned halfway through. You have used it to weather storms that would have broken weaker spirits. You have used it to stand firm when everything around you was crumbling. But here is what I have noticed about the way most Taurus people use their patience, and I need you to hear this carefully. You are incredibly patient with everyone and everything except yourself. You give other people time to grow, time to heal, time to figure things out. You extend grace and understanding to friends who are struggling. You offer compassion to strangers who are going through difficult seasons. You wait patiently for the world to catch up with your vision. But when it comes to your own growth, your own healing, your own transformation, you are ruthless. You expect yourself to have it all figured out by now. You punish yourself for not being further along. You compare your timeline to the timelines of others and conclude that you must be doing something wrong because they seem to be moving faster. You set impossible standards for yourself and then feel like a failure when you cannot meet them. And that lack of self-patience is sabotaging everything you are trying to build in this season. Because transformation does not happen on demand. Healing does not operate on a schedule. Growth does not care about your timeline or your 5-year plan or the deadlines you have set in your head. Growth happens when it happens at the pace it needs to happen, and no amount of self-criticism or self-punishment is going to speed it up. In fact, the opposite is true. The harder you push yourself, the slower you grow. The more you criticize your progress, the more your progress stalls. The more you demand that you be further along than you are, the more you anchor yourself to exactly where you are. It is one of the cruelest ironies of personal development. The very urgency you feel about your growth is the thing that slows it down. You need to speak to yourself the way you speak to the people you love most. When a friend comes to you overwhelmed and exhausted, you do not tell them to try harder. You tell them to rest. You tell them they are doing the best they can. You tell them that everything is going to be okay. Why can you not say those same words to yourself? Why are you so generous with compassion for others and so stingy with compassion for yourself? This season is asking you to redirect your patience, to turn that infinite, steadfast, unbreakable patience that you have always given to the world and aim it at yourself. To look in the mirror and say, I am doing the best I can, and that is enough. To stop rushing your healing. To stop demanding instant results. To stop treating your own timeline as a failure and start treating it as exactly right. You are not behind. You are not slow. You are not failing. You are growing at exactly the pace you need to grow. And the fact that it does not look like anyone else's pace does not mean anything is wrong. Your patience is one of your greatest gifts. It is time you gave some of it to yourself. Some people watch. Others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting. It's about moving. Tip 9. The relationships worth keeping are the ones that survive your honesty. There is a conversation you have been avoiding. You know which one I am talking about. It is the one that has been sitting in the back of your mind for weeks, the one you keep rehearsing in the shower, the one you keep almost having and then pulling back from at the last moment. It is the conversation where you finally say what you really feel, where you stop editing yourself for someone else's comfort, where you stop swallowing your truth to keep the peace. And you have been avoiding it because you are afraid of what will happen when the words come out. You are afraid that the relationship will not survive your honesty. You are afraid that the person on the other side of that conversation will not be able to handle the real you, the unfiltered you, the you that has needs and boundaries and things that have been left unsaid for far too long. And that fear is understandable. For a Taurus, relationships are not casual. They are investments. You do not give your heart to many people, but when you do, you give it completely. And the thought of losing one of those people because of something you said feels unbearable. So you stay quiet. You swallow the words. You absorb the frustration. You tell yourself that keeping the peace is more important than speaking your truth. But here is what you need to understand. A relationship that can only survive on your silence is not a real relationship. It is a performance. You are not being loved for who you are. You are being loved for who you pretend to be. And that kind of love, the kind that requires you to hide essential parts of yourself, is not love at all. It is a transaction. You give them the version of you they want, and in return they give you the illusion of connection. But it is an illusion, and deep down you know it. You know it every time you bite your tongue. You know it every time you say you are fine when you are not. You know it every time you laugh at something that hurt you or agree with something you disagree with or pretend that a boundary violation did not sting when it cut you to the core. The relationships worth keeping, the ones that will actually carry you into the next chapter of your life, are the ones that can handle your truth. They are the ones where you can say, "This hurt me," and the other person listens. Where you can say, "I need something different," and the other person adjusts. Where you can show up as your full, honest, unedited self and be met with acceptance instead of rejection. Those are the relationships worth fighting for. Those are the connections worth preserving. Everything else, no matter how long it has lasted, no matter how much history you share, no matter how much you care about the person, if it cannot survive your honesty, it was never built to last. Have the conversation. Say the thing you have been holding back. Speak the truth that has been sitting on your chest like a stone. And then watch what happens. The people who stay, the people who listen, the people who say thank you for telling me and then meet you halfway. Those are your people. Those are the ones who love you, not the idea of you, not the convenient version of you, but the real, messy, complicated, beautifully honest you. And the ones who leave when they hear your truth. They were already gone. They just had not told you yet. Tip 10. The season of receiving is closer than you think, but only if you stop blocking it. There is something the universe has been trying to deliver to you for quite some time now. Something good. Something abundant. Something that would change the entire trajectory of your life if you would simply allow it in. But you have been blocking it. Not intentionally, not consciously, but effectively nonetheless. You have been blocking it with your doubt, with your unworthiness, with the quiet, persistent belief that good things are for other people but not for you. With the conviction that if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. With the deeply ingrained habit of bracing for disappointment so that when it comes, it does not hurt as much. That defensive posture, that constant bracing, that readiness for the worst, it is costing you everything. Because the universe responds to your energy. It reads the signals you send out, not the words you say but the frequency you hold. And when your frequency says, "I do not deserve this," or "nothing good ever lasts," or "something will go wrong," it will always go wrong. The universe honors that frequency, not because it wants to punish you, but because the universe is a mirror. It reflects back to you exactly what you project into it. If you project fear, you receive reasons to be afraid. If you project scarcity, you experience lack. If you project unworthiness, you attract situations that confirm your belief that you are not enough. But the reverse is equally true. If you project openness, you receive opportunities. If you project abundance, you attract prosperity. If you project worthiness, you draw in relationships and experiences that honor your value. This is not wishful thinking. This is not some feel-good philosophy designed to make you temporarily inspired and then ultimately disappointed. This is the fundamental mechanics of how energy works. And as a Taurus, you are deeply connected to the material world. You understand value. You understand exchange. You understand that what you put in is related to what you get out. So apply that same understanding to your energetic exchange with the universe. What have you been putting in? What frequency have you been broadcasting? If you have been broadcasting fear, doubt, and unworthiness, then every good thing trying to reach you has been bouncing off the wall you have built around yourself. The season of receiving is not something you have to create. It is something that is already here, waiting for you to stop deflecting what it is offering. All you have to do is lower the walls. All you have to do is open your hands instead of clenching your fists. All you have to do is say, with your whole heart and your whole body, "I am ready. I am worthy. I am open to receiving what is meant for me. And then watch what happens. Watch how quickly things begin to shift when you stop fighting against your own blessings. Watch how the right people appear when you stop assuming everyone will leave. Watch how the opportunities multiply when you stop telling yourself that you do not deserve them. You have been standing in your own way for long enough. Step aside. Let the goodness in. It has been waiting for you. And the moment you stop resisting it, you will realize that it was never far away. It was right there, just on the other side of the wall you built to protect yourself from disappointment. But that wall was not protecting you. It was isolating you from the very things you have been longing for. Tip 11. What you build next must come from who you are, not who you were. There is a version of you that has been running the show for a long time, and that version has done an incredible job. Built things. It endured things. It survived things that would have destroyed someone with less strength. And you owe that version of yourself an enormous debt of gratitude. But that version has served its purpose. That version was designed for a chapter of your life that is ending. And if you try to build your next chapter using the same blueprints, the same strategies, the same mindset, the same beliefs that got you through the last one, you are going to create a life that looks eerily similar to the one you are trying to leave behind. This is one of the most common mistakes people make during a period of transformation. They recognize that change is needed. They feel the pull towards something new. They even take the first steps in a different direction. But then they fall back on old habits, old patterns, old ways of thinking because those are the tools they know. Those are the tools that feel safe. Those are the tools that have worked before. But the tools that built your past are not necessarily the tools that will build your future. The caution that protected you in a dangerous season might become the fear that prevents you from taking necessary risks in this new one. The self-reliance that kept you safe when you had no one to lean on might become the isolation that prevents you from accepting help when it is offered. The work ethic that carried you through difficult times might become the workaholism that prevents you from enjoying the fruits of everything you have built. You have to be willing to examine your toolkit with fresh eyes. You have to be willing to set down the tools that have become outdated and pick up new ones, even if the new ones feel unfamiliar and awkward in your hands at first. Because what you are building next is unlike anything you have built before. It requires different skills, different perspectives, different approaches. It requires the wisdom of your experience combined with the openness of a beginner. It requires you to honor everything you have learned, while remaining willing to learn things that contradict what you thought you knew. This is not about discarding your past self. It is about integrating the lessons and releasing the limitations. It is about carrying forward the strength and the wisdom while leaving behind the fear and the rigidity. It is about building from a place of expansion rather than a place of protection. The life you are creating next should reflect who you are right now. Not who you were 5 years ago. Not who you were 10 years ago. Not who the world told you that you should be. But who you are in this very moment, with all your scars and all your wisdom and all your hard-won clarity. Build from that place. Build from truth. Build from the deep knowing of who you have become through everything you have survived. And what you create will be stronger, more authentic, and more beautiful than anything you have ever built before. The old blueprints got you here, and for that they deserve your respect. But they cannot take you where you are going. Where you are going requires new plans, new courage, and a willingness to build something you have never built before. And that is not something to fear. That is something to celebrate. Because it means you are no longer building for survival. You are finally building for joy. Tip 12. The peace you are looking for is not a destination. It is a decision you make every single day. Here is the final piece, and it might be the most important one of all. You have been searching for peace as if it is something you can find, as if it is a place you can arrive at, a finish line you can cross, a state of being that you achieve once and then maintain forever. You have been telling yourself that you will feel peaceful when the situation resolves, when the relationship heals, when the money comes, when the uncertainty clears, when everything finally falls into place. But peace does not work that way. Peace is not a destination. It is not something that happens to you. It is something you choose, every single day, in every single moment, regardless of what is happening around you. Peace is the decision to stop fighting with reality. It is the decision to accept what is even while you work toward what could be. It is the decision to release your grip on how things should look and instead embrace how things actually are. And that decision is not easy, especially especially not for a Taurus, because you have a vision for your life. You have a plan. You have expectations and standards and a very clear picture of how things are supposed to go. And when reality does not match that picture, you feel the friction. You feel the resistance. You feel the tightness that comes from trying to force the world to conform to your will. But the world does not conform to anyone's will. It moves at its own pace, in its own direction, according to its own wisdom. And the more you fight against that movement, the more peace eludes you. The more you try to control the uncontrollable, the more stressed, anxious, and exhausted you become. Peace comes when you let go. Not when you give up, but when you let go of the need to control every outcome, every timeline, every detail. When you trust that the same force that keeps the planets in orbit and the tides in rhythm is also guiding your life with the same precision and the same care. That trust is the foundation of peace, and it is available to you right now. Not when things calm down, not when the storm passes, not when everything is perfect. Right now, in the middle of the mess, in the middle of the uncertainty, in the middle of the transformation, you can choose peace right here. You can take a breath. You can soften your shoulders. You can unclench your jaw. You can say to yourself, I do not have to figure everything out today. I do not have to solve every problem right now. I can be at peace with where I am while I work toward where I want to be. And in that softening, in that surrender, something shifts. The weight lifts. The tension eases. The world does not change, but your relationship to it does. And that change in relationship is everything. It is the difference between a life lived in constant battle and a life lived in graceful flow. Choose peace today. Choose it tomorrow. Choose it the day after that. Not because everything is fine, but because you are strong enough to be at peace even when things are not fine. That is real strength. That is the deepest power you possess, and it has been waiting for you to claim it. As we reach the end of this message, I want you to sit with everything you have heard. Not just the parts that were easy to receive, but especially the parts that were difficult. Because those are the parts that were speaking directly to you. Those are the parts that touch the truth you have been carrying but have not yet been ready to face. The things you are letting go of right now, the habits, the relationships, the beliefs, the version of yourself that you have been outgrowing. None of them will be missed. Not in the way you fear. Yes, there will be moments of grief. Yes, there will be nights when you reach for the familiar and find nothing there. But those moments will pass. They always do. And what will remain, what will grow in the space where the old things used to be, is something so much richer, so much deeper, so much more aligned with who you truly are that you will wonder why you held on as long as you did. Your stubbornness, your patience, your loyalty, your strength. These are not weaknesses that need to be fixed. They are superpowers that need to be redirected, aimed at the right things, channeled toward growth instead of resistance, toward building instead of maintaining, toward the future instead of the past. You are a Taurus. You were built for endurance. You were built to plant seeds and tend them with steady hands and a patient heart until they become something magnificent. And the seeds you are planting right now, in this season of releasing and letting go and making space, these are the most important seeds you have ever planted. Water them with trust. Tend them with patience. Protect them with the fierce, quiet determination that is your birthright. Everything you need is already inside you. It always has been. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.